What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, June 25th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. First off, right off the top, happy 28th birthday to our very own raw dog, Belleville's finest, Mr. Gogster. 28 years old today. And congratulations, Mr. Gogster, on your excellent action yesterday. Montreal Canadiens cashed for you. Congratulations to all the Montreal Canadiens fans, and more importantly, the Montreal Canadiens believers, because I was not one. And this series showed that this is a very good hockey team, hitting on all cylinders, healthy, fast, young, with veteran talent, a leader in Weber, great goaltending in Carey Price. Man, next step, possibly Shea Weber holding the Stanley Cup over his head. Next shout-out goes to our very own Matt Randall. Matt Randall from Mott's Children's Hospital yesterday sent in yet another winner, attempting to sweep the week for the second week in 2 out of the last 3 weeks. He will have swept the week if he cashed today. And I like his action today very, very much. 32 and 16. 66.7%. He cashed with Washington first 5 yesterday. We completely nailed the NBA basketball game with our breakdown. Completely to a fucking T. Nailed it. The NHL capping was very strong. Now, I didn't nail it. I did cash the no score in the first 10 minutes. I didn't cash no score in the first period, and then I pushed on the 5, so I didn't cash it. I didn't succeed off of it, but Mr. Gogster did. But it's not about Mr. Gogster and I. It's about us as a group defeating the books, improving our lives, defeating the juice, and that's what we did. Everybody eats is one of our tags, and a lot of guys destroyed. So big shout out to Slats, our guy Slatsy in Montreal. He took the Habs to win exact score 3-2 at plus 800. And then North Ender, one Montrealer to another. North Ender got him on the Cole Caulfield prop. And I tell you what, Marc-Andre Fleury does not let that goal in. And Lehner should have started game 5 in Vegas. And DeBoer fucked up, man. DeBoer fucked up, but who cares? Maybe if he hadn't fucked up, it wouldn't have made a difference because Montreal is that good. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Turnsy in the house. Raymond Reddington. Christopher Gargaro. If you are not following Christopher Gargaro, you are making a mistake. This guy is on Twitter now, and he's sharing all of his glory here on Twitter. Let me make sure that I have his pop it up for you guys because we need Christopher Gargaro followed by our guys. He's putting out spin rates nonstop for us, and it is very, very, very helpful. And here it is. I'm going to pop his handle here in the chat. An excellent capper, a huge asset to us. So here, I'm going to pop this in the chat right now. This is our guy, Christopher Gargaro, just cashing on unders with these spin rates. Great, great stuff. There's North Ender in the house. Richly deserved. Alex Gagnon. There we got Nilo in the house. Luke Murphy says, school's out. Let's eat. And there he is, North Ender with the Cole Caulfield. Goal Caulfield. That's not anything for him. At plus 500 to score. Yeah. But I was shocked that Lehner would leave. Such a big guy, right? Such a big goalie would leave that much room upstairs. What's he thinking? There he is, the birthday boy, Mr. Gogster in the house. There's Sharpie ready to go. It says, crazy stat of the day. Arizona's lost 23 straight road games. Orioles now at 21. Both have not won a away game since Bumgarner and Means threw no hitters on the road for each team weeks ago back to May 1st. Wow, that is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. There's Nigel Lee ready to get to work. Gerald Jones in the house. We got a ton of work to do. There's my guy, Hustle Wilson. That's what this guy does. He hustles. And I love seeing him in the chat. Hard worker, great capper. Keon Jackson ready to go. Jeff Shahadi says, Taint dry as a bone. I don't know if dry as a when I first read that, I looked at it twice. You're right. There's been very little concern with Taint. I was saying that earlier in the week that there are so many games with Taint that it's over in the second inning, basically. Very, 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 very impressive. And I'm so glad that everybody is rolling with Taint. So glad that everyone's rolling with Taint. All right, we have a ton of work to do. Gerald Jones, Washington won NL East. Future today. Gabe Morency, the spectacular capper, great guy, huge. He's a star in our country. We many young cappers look up to him, and I've had the chance of hanging out with him, and I love him dearly. Put you on that bet at 28-1 last week. That's a nice looking bet. Interesting. The only problem is it feels like they were ready to sell. They were sellers, but maybe that's not the case. There's Nasty Nate ready to get to work. Walla Dose, Danny A. And there's some love for Mr. Gogster. Thank you, Nut Flush, my man. Thank you. I got a few of these Giants hats, different colors or whatever. But I thought you might like that. Jason Albert in the house. All right, time to get to work. Mike M says, Cubs beat them to start the West Coast trip and Clippers won by double digits. Smash those books. Let's do it again. There's Puzzler in the house, whom I love dearly. All right, time to get to work. And Northampton says, brother, 365 days. He's having one of the greatest an athlete has ever had. If he wins a cup, it's unbelievable. Oh, talking about Cole Caulfield. Tyrone Coleman ready to go. Gerardo Hernandez in the house. Robert Allen. Kyle Hintley in. All right. And there he is. Slats 45. What a night in Montreal. I could hear the horns until 4 a.m. I need a break. Emotionally spent, but bring on the finals. Yeah, man. That was intense. It's so often in huge games where you get that goal, that first goal, and you're like, oh, I can take a breath. And the other team scores in 40 seconds. It's a battle. There's razor sharp picks in the house. Gamblers first glance 2-1 this week. We'll have one locked and loaded soon. Video will be posted soon. Definitely keep an eye on that. There's our guy Von Polo ready to get to work. TJ. All right, Pierre Suartas. Time to go. Glenn Elliott Man ready to eat. And there is the Twitter handle for our Christopher Gargaro, who's working so hard for our benefit. Fat Wally says, much love from the rehab hospital in New Braunfels, Texas. Fat Wally, we love you so much. Just keep getting on the mend so that we can all hang out together very, very, very soon. Reginald Luker. And by the way, the surgery for Briggsy at Mott's Children's Hospital was a success. And the courage that young Briggsy shows is unbelievable. What character this boy has. Josh Keon Kadlaya in the house. All right, so let's get to work. Says, when capping Arizona games, please put the absolute nightmare of a defense in your cap. I've watched them drop fly balls, kick ground balls. Jessica Easton in the house. Leroy Flood, Austin Staten, Viper NB. All right, it is time to get to work. Let's go. Quick review of yesterday. Nice little 3-in-1 day for me. So Bet365 clearly messing with us. They're a book that makes a ton of money. And it's clear that these first 5 alternate run lines are hurting them. They're not sending them out, and it's messing with me. I wasn't able to bet the Yankees first 5 on the run line -0.5 yesterday. It wasn't available. That was an easy casher. Like I said, Taillon, that second straight start at home. We're seeing these average pitchers. Now, I know Taillon was the first overall draft pick, but average pitchers right now, when they get their second straight start at home or third straight start at home in their routine, pitching very, very well. He did that as well. That felt really like leaving money on the table. And then they tried to mess with me in the Astros. So the Astros, I had to take first 3 -0.5. So this rears its ugly head again here today, and I'll get into that in a second. But Astros first 3 -0.5, -125 was a casher. And I was a little concerned when I saw the Astros lineup. No Altuve, I expect today's Astros game to be rained out, so maybe the idea was give these guys 2 days off in a row. Nationals first 5, the Taint play of the day, -120 cash. Cleveland, Minnesota first 5, over 5 was a mistake. I was uncomfortable betting it. I'm surprised that I still pulled the trigger on it. And then Pirates first 5 +130, an easy casher on a nice dog price. 3-in-1 +2.15 units. That brings us back to 32 games over 500, although we are not at our high water mark. We're just under it. 172 wins, 140 losses, 55.1%, +14.31 units. ROI +4.59%. Average line -112. Let's get to work right now. We got Red Girl in the house. Jay Mills, Jimmy Gomez, Young Slav says Astros run line all day until the train stops. I don't think that game's going to play. We will still break it down enough but I don't need to do it. Okay, let's go. North End says my local uses Bet365. My local also uses Bet365, and why wouldn't you? Look, if you're going to pick a book that you know is printing cash, that's one of them. That, to me, personally, because in years past, we've line shopped for the best available line, and we put that out. So for me to be having this record when only dealing with them, Bet365 is a very good sign, because I think I'd be much higher. Jared Schrader says, any reason why Toronto and San Diego don't win by 2+ runs today? I took them both -1.5. I think the Padres are much more likely. I think that Alek Manoah could very well get another wake-up call from these Baltimore Orioles. I think it's a trickier game, but I've left a ton of money on the table not fading Harvey, where it was an automatic move for me in the past. But everything's a little different this year. I'm focusing on market moves, and my quantity of action is down. In any other year, I'd already have over 500 MLB bets in. But Brian Watson says, Jared, yes. I think the Padres could very well do it. I haven't moved on that. But let's get to work right now. First off, TJ, it's now there. It has kept me off losses, obviously. But my average line would be much better. Everything would be much better. So it is nice. Jay Mill says, do you see the White Sox getting back to winning ways at home today? I do. So I've only made 4 bets on 2 games right now. And what I was referring to with Bet365 messing with us with these first 5 run lines, I have moved on both of them, both of the spots that I think are really nice spots on first 4.5 -0.5. So I got plus money on both of them. And I'd prefer not to do it. I'd prefer to get that bottom of the 5th inning. But the 2 spots I'm already on are the Chicago White Sox double up and the LA Dodgers double up. So let's get to work right now. And there he is, star of our show, Matty Ice, in the house, going for the week sweep. All right, let's get to work. We got a ton of work to do. Jerry Beatty says favorites are extremely juiced today. I got in last night on the -1 line, and I was pretty happy with what I got. I got -129 on the Dodgers. I got -136 on the White Sox, and I'm very, very comfortable with it. Christian James dislikes the Dodgers very much, so much so that it doesn't show up in our YouTube chat. Okay, let's roll. Michael Irvelina, thank you for the kind words. Tony James in the house. Let's go. We start with the double dip. We're going to start with the doubleheader, get it out of the way. 4:10 p.m. Eastern, Game 1. Philadelphia Phillies, 34-37, 13-23 on the road at the New York Mets, 38-31, 22-9 at home. We're at Citi Field in Queens, New York. 78 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 10 miles per hour, out to left center. Aaron Nola versus Taijuan Walker. When is Nola going to look like that ace that we remember so well? I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife. And Taijuan Walker has been good all year. Let's start with Nola. Last start, he only gets through 2 1/3, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, 3 walks, 1 K, and a 13-6 loss at the Giants. You could think that this would be a spot for him to bounce back. Slots 45 says, I find Manoah overrated. Was a train wreck last start, yelling at his manager, shut up and pitch. I can't back him. Uncool, I do not think the Jays are by any means a lock, and I won't be on them today. And neither is Slatsy. And we got Soupy Panties in the house. What up, Soupy? All right. Taijuan Walker, 6-3, 2.42 ERA, 1.05 whip, 74 1/3, 77 Ks, 24 walks, 5 home runs. Phillies versus righties, 232, 683 OPS. Mets versus righties, 232, 684 OPS. Identical. Phillies bullpen weak, 4.50 ERA, 1.35 whip, 15 of 31. Mets bullpen 3.78 ERA, 1.29 whip, 21 of 31. Something that will be in play in this game is that they're going to want Nola to go at least 6. Because Game 2 is a bullpen day. These Phillies are not going to want to dip into that bullpen early. They're not going to want to do that. So there's going to be a possibility that Nola will be in trouble, and it would be useful to pull him, and they won't do that. Let's go to baseball data. And initially, I wanted to back Nola in this spot. This is very important for him to have a nice start for this team. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't back him. All right, let's talk about this spot. Against Nola, they're hitting 249 with a 737 OPS, 181 at-bats, 45 for 181. Against Taijuan Walker, 268 with an 814 OPS. They're 11 for 41 with 4 doubles and 1 homer. 5 of the 11 hits for extra bases. Tony James says, stay away from the doubleheader, Jimmy. What I wanted to do, my plan was to stay away from game 1. Let's look at a couple more things before we move. I was interested in game 2, and I am now off of it. But we have Walker opening. Oh, sorry, is that first 5? No, that's full game. Wow, this total low. 5.5. That is low. That's low for the way Nola's been pitching. And, I've seen Walker get touched in a double dip already this year. Walker at minus 121 for the first game. And the total, by the way, at 5.5 has moved to 6 at BetOnline. If you're going to give me a dog line here with Nola in a 7-inning start, when he's capable of going all the way, I would be very interested, extremely interested in the Phillies at this plus line. So who hits Walker? Let's just see here. It's not the big bats. That's the problem. Harper 1 for 7. Hoskins 1 for 5. That hurts. Real Muto 0 for 1. So it's Torres and Baum. That hurts. That's too bad. But a plus line right now on Nola in this spot. All right, Taint play of the day is in. I repeat, going for the week sweep. The Taint play of the day is in, and I'm already on it, but I had to take it first 4.5. I'm already on it. Taint is in. Taint going to sweep the week, baby. Taint play of the day is in. Let's copy and paste that right now and get that in over our White Sox spot. Very exciting. So when I'm already on Taint, we have a very, very high success rate. It's going to be a while till we break that down, but exciting stuff. We also have Jose's Say Hey play of the day on that spot as well. Turnsy, when we're going to get there very soon, but one of the very interesting things in these Blue Jay starts when the wind's blowing in Buffalo is that the Sharps are betting the under. And it cashed yesterday. It was almost an immediate bet for me as well, and I talked myself off of it. I was very thankful after the Jays put up 6 in the first. But they're also, if you notice, in Harvey starts, and Gas Station said Harvey's not a fade for him because Harvey's velocity is still there. And in saying all that, I've left a ton of money on the table on Harvey starts. So, no, I'm not going to be jumping on the over. It did open at 11, is now at 10.5. So no move right now for the Phillies. But I tell you what. Yes, I know, Nilo. I had to take the 4.5. And I don't think they're going to come up today. There's many days where they haven't been coming up lately, and they didn't come up yesterday. And I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to sit around and wait and watch this market. We know these spots are very appealing to any better. I have a lean to the Phillies' first game. I think that even though Nola has not been very good right now, you get him back in a divisional game where there's only 7 innings that he's got to go, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes complete here. And I think a plus line on what I consider probably a coin flip situation is probably worth it. Let's go into game 2. Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets, 74 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 10 miles per hour out, so it's a little cooler. But the wind stays the same. And you have Matt Moore on the bump, who is now used out of the bullpen. They did start him for a few games early in the year, and he was not very good. 0-1, 7.36 ERA, 1.91 whip, 17 Ks, 11 walks, 5 home runs. All right, Kev Riley, what's up? Great job on the basketball game. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, and the sweaty balls play of the day. That's new from Robert Allen. Sweaty balls. Play of the day, Lightning 3-way in regulation. Jimmy Gomez says, I think Mets have game 1 and Phillies game 2, in my opinion, but I'm not playing this. I want to badly fade Matt Moore and the Phillies bullpen. I think that will become increasingly appealing if Nola doesn't go deep in game 1. And what's kept me off of it is simply that the Phillies hit lefties very hard. They've done that for a few years now. It's been a very comfortable thing to back. Phillies versus lefties, 261, 754 OPS. Peterson hasn't been good. 2 and 5, 5.31 ERA, 1.37 WHIP, 57 and 2/3, 62 Ks, 26 walks, 9 home runs. Maybe he's a little more comfortable and, back at home and gets right. Mally Mal says both pitchers coming off terrible games. I think that Peterson has a high upside. Dom Ricci, who watches, who's very, very sharp with these New York Mets, believes in Peterson. Jay Mill says tomorrow take Denmark money line over Wales minus 118. They're the much stronger team and playing for their fallen player Eriksson. And Mally Mal says Peterson was good in his last start. So I would like to back Peterson, but I'm too scared. I'm too scared of the way the Phillies hit lefties, and I think that turns it into a coin flip. And if it's a coin flip, I don't need to be involved. Let's see what the odds are here for Game 2. In this spot, we have. Here we go, more Peterson. We have a minus 135 to minus 145 for Peterson. Again, if it's going to be a coin flip situation, which I believe Game 1 is, then why you want to be on the side of the dog, and we are not in this spot. This total is at 7. It's juiced to the under. There are 6.5s on the board right now. Let's take a quick look at, and we will look at where the money is on both, but let's take a look at where the baseball data leads us here. In this spot, we have to move down a little bit because it's the second game of the double dip. And here we go against Matt Moore, 281 with a 742 OPS, 16 for 57 with 2 homers. VR and Lindor have homered off of him. And David Peterson against Peterson, they're hitting 310 with a 1.099 OPS. So Mally Mouse says I like the Mets to win the second game. Yeah, if this was at a minus 110 line on each, I would agree. But with the way the Phillies hit lefties, with the way they hit David Peterson, I cannot pull the trigger. So let's see if there's money in, and there's not going to be much money in these two. Yeah, there's 390 tickets on the first one. Let's not let that sway us. But 390 tickets, maybe I shouldn't even mention. Maybe we should come back to it. But 40% of the tickets on the money line on the Phillies and 84% of the cash. And look, that makes sense to me. The more I talk about this, the more I think I'm going to take the Phillies in Game 1. I think that the Phillies will put out their A lineup in Game 1 and do whatever they can to win that game because they know it's a bullpen day and a shit show in Game 2. Kyle Hitley, and let's talk about it. We'll get there, my friend. So I am going to back Aaron Nola and the the Philadelphia Phillies against New York Mets here in Game 1. I just think this plus line is too appealing. And I expect Nola to bounce back. I do. I think he goes deep in this contest, and I think they have their A lineup with Nola on the bump. All right, this was not part of the plan. It is now an addition. Here we go. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day on St. Louis. Red spreadsheet play of the day on St. Louis. Ron Crawford hits at such a high percentage on these spots. So thank you for joining us, Ron, my man. Okay, I am moving on. Thank you, Mally Mal. I am moving on the Phillies in Game 1. Addition to my card. All right, let's move on. 410. And look, Nola at a plus price. Look, I know he hasn't been that good this year, but this is a big divisional game. Okay. Jimmy loves the plus lines like plus size women. No, not quite. Not nothing against them though. Nothing against them. Turnsy says I want to make this my play today, but I want to see if other captors are getting to the number. There's no point. My book has the over 4.5 and Lightning at minus 132. Jesus, I will check that out. There's Noli Nose in the house. Great to see you, Noli. And Sharper Focus says Mets all day. Great to see Sharper Focus rolling with us. Okay. And TJ says bet the hell out of that Turnsy. Okay, let's move on right now. And Mally Mal doing it the right way. Doing it the right way. And Red Girl says Booker had on that mask. They have to be uncomfortable. And CP3 first game back. Payne gets hurt, of course. Clippers win. Suns win it all, though. Ooh, that's exciting. Joshua Wheelock says Nola mediocre on the road for years. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. And clearly that's why I'm getting a plus spot here. I just feel like Nola is more than capable of having a good start here against this Mets team. And at a coin flip, I would take Nola over Taijuan Walker. Kevin Riley has a good point. You like Phillies first full game or first five here. That is a good point. Why not take the Phillies bullpen out of it? It's off the board right now. So maybe there's a pitching change in sight. So let's not take too much time here. So look, I'm interested. We'll wait till it's on the board again. Let's move on. All right, here we go. Next up, we have 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Colorado Rockies at Milwaukee Brewers, American Family Field, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Rockies are 31-44, 6-28 on the road. At Milwaukee Brewers, 42-33, 20-18 at home. 75 Fahrenheit, overcast, 8 miles per hour, sideways in. We have the Gray Wolf, Johnny Gray, on the bump for the Rock Show. 4-6, 4.29 ERA, 1.29 WHIP, 63 innings, 50 Ks, 27 walks, 8 home runs. In his last start, he looked bad. 2 1/3, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 walks, no strikeouts in a 9-5 loss at home versus the A's. Going up against Corbin Burns, 3-4, 2.62 ERA, 0.93 WHIP, 68 2/3, 108 Ks, 12 walks, 2 home runs. Corbin Burns is a very good pitcher, and he's coming off a bad start in the thin air at Colorado against this squad. 5 1/3, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. It's going to be much easier for him to pitch at home, but is there any issue here with the spider tack or the sticky substance with Corbin Burns? Because he has had a ton of movement on his pitches earlier in the year. Rockies versus righties, just 233, 675 OPS. Brewers versus righties, just 211, 655 OPS. Is this a bounce back spot for both pitchers? Raymond Reddington says Rockies money line. Viper MB says Gray a bum. And Rob Free says sometimes the problem is the Mets offense. I agree with that. Okay, so from a bullpen perspective, the Brewers bullpen has been improving over the last little while. 4.07 ERA, 1.33 WHIP, have converted 23 of 36 save opportunities. Rockies bullpen, 5.25 ERA, 1.52 WHIP, have converted 12 of 24 save opportunities. Let's go to the batter versus pitcher here in this spot. We have against Burns a 300 average and an 845 OPS, 12 of 40 with 4 doubles and a homer, but a lot of that damage was done just a week ago. Against John Gray, 267 with a 705 OPS. Let's see what the market has done with this game here. Colorado, Milwaukee, sitting at 7.5. That makes sense to me. It opened at -114 to the over, and there's been a move towards the under. You know, that makes sense to me. That in Milwaukee, and I expect the roof to be open because it's a nice day in Milwaukee. But that makes sense to me. And in fact, this total here, if Burns does not have an issue with the sticky stuff, then I agree with this market move towards the under. And I think that they can both have nice starts here. Marissa A says Rockies playing better. Thank you, Johnny K. I think that this under is in play with these two teams that don't hit righties. Now, do I really want an under with Burns, who's just got hit hard by these Rockies in Colorado? Is a very good question. Glenn Lightman says Milwaukee full capacity for the first time. That's a very important point. Thank you, Glenn. There's Stu Boo in the house. I have a ton of interest in this first 5 under 4. These teams just don't hit righties. I'm going to leave an L beside it only because, well, you know what? Let's see what the market has done here. Here we go. There's 4,728 tickets, so at least we got something to look at here. For the money line ticket, 76% on the Brewers, 89% of the cash. And look at this, the public and the cash on the over and the market moving towards the under. 54% of the tickets on the over, 80% of the cash on the over, and it's moving towards the under. Now 81% of the cash on the over. Uncle Oliver says, sounds good to me. I might take that, Jimmy. Let me know if you do move on it, because I don't want I'm humming and hawing here. All right, let's move on to 7:07 p.m. Eastern, the game that Kyle Hintley and badly wants to talk about. Baltimore Orioles, 23-52, 11-26 on the road, and Toronto Blue Jays, 38-35, 14-16 at home. We're at Salem Field in Buffalo, New York. 76 Fahrenheit, overcast, 10 miles per hour in. The batted man, Matt Harvey, 3-9, 7.80 ERA, 1.78 WHIP, 62 and a third, 53 Ks, 22 walks, and 10 home runs allowed. And Robert Allen says, the thing is, Jimmy, the Rockies have been playing better the last couple of weeks, so there might be some runs in this game. There might be. I'm still going to leave the Yelp aside. I want to know if our man Lucky Lefty, a.k.a. Uncle Oliver, moves on it. Nolino says, I can't really trust Gray's velocity has been an issue since last season. I really do. Part of it is because of how weak these teams are at hitting righties. And Renee says pitching in Colorado is like a whole different world. I'd be curious if, I don't know if, sorry to drop this on Christopher Gargaro or even Sharpie, but I'd be very curious to know what Corbin Burns' spin rate has been since the sticky stuff ban of the sticky stuff situation. All right, let's talk here. In Matt Harvey's last start, he only made it through 4 1/3, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, in a 7-4 loss at home versus these Jays. So Harvey got through 4 innings without unscathed. It was that 5th inning he got touched. And of course, these batters have seen him. I would have a pretty quick hook on Matt Harvey here. Going up against Alek Manoah, who's coming off a bad start at the Orioles. 3 1/3, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 homers, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and a 10-7 win. So this is a very simple no bet on the Jays. And if I was given a free bet, I would obviously, just because of the plus opportunity on any free bet, be on the other side. I think that if you're going to take a favorite, there are certain boxes that need to be checked, and the Jays do not check enough of them. And the reason is Alek Manoah. He just got hit hard by this team, and he's a pretty wild dude on the mound. And these Orioles want to hit him badly. And we know what the ROI is for underdogs in divisional games. This total went from 11 to 10.5. Is that all wind related? We know that sharps have been doing that when the wind is blowing in. We also know that sharps have been taking Harvey, or at least the market's been moving in Harvey's direction when he starts. Not here. Here, the Jays go from minus 210 to minus 246, a huge 36-cent move. Huge. Dennis Garcia says he plays up to games. Orioles bullpen is an absolute train wreck. They're so bad. 4.84 ERA, 1.37 WHIP, but remember, they started out the year very strong. They don't hit righties, the Orioles. 218 with a 654 OPS, while the Blue Jays smash them. 261, 776 OPS. And Fat Wally saying back in the day, didn't like the great Gaylord Perry used nail file sandpaper to increase spin rate. Also lots of hair lotions used in the 70s. Luke Murphy says Manoah hit the Dirty K prop in only 3 innings last start. Is Dirty K prop in? Geez, let me know if the Dirty K prop's in. Let me know, please, if I definitely can't miss that. Platinum Paul says Toronto team total over first 5, book it. Alex Gagnon says Manoah K prop is at 5.5. He just had 6 and 3 innings against them. TJ says, anyone watching these games, Baltimore is so bad, they have no fight, and they have a bum on the mound and a horrendous bullpen. If they contend in this, they need to score 8 runs minimum. And Kyle Hindley asking if Springer is in. I don't have that information on hand. All right, so let's go to the baseball data here in this start. Against Harvey, they're hitting .415 with a 1.186 OPS. Against Manoah, 286 average, but a 1.518 OPS. They're 4 for 14. All the hits were homers. So, all right, so let's go over to the action here. Where is the money in this spot and how many tickets we have in? Nice amount, 6,254 tickets in. Okay, so we have 88% of the tickets and 99% of the cash on the Jays and a huge market move towards them. We have 62% of the tickets and 83% of the cash on the over, and it's dropped a half run. So, look, I can understand those of you who are bullish on the Blue Jays, but with this big of a favorite, I can't trust Manoah to get the job done. Puzzler says, I think the Jays are going to win at around the 700 clip for the rest of the season. Kyle Hindley and I will be cheering for you. I will be cheering for you, but I can't do it. All right. Robert Johnson says I was on the Orioles team total over 4.5 yesterday because Kay was pitching for the Jays and they got 0 runs. I'm finished with Baltimore until further notice. Look, I told you before the show, the Jays brass is very high on Anthony Kay. Very high on him. So at this point in the season, when certain teams that have a lot of potential to succeed keep putting out a pitcher whose numbers aren't very good, you have to think that the experts who see him every day have faith in him. Okay, we move on. There's Eric Jones in the house. Let's go. 7:10 p.m. Eastern is next up, and I'm not sure. I'm close to moving on the Tampa Bay Rays, but I wanted to talk it out before I did. Angels, Rays. Angels 36-38, 15-19 on the road. At the Rays 45-31, 21-15 at home. We're at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Griffin Canning going up against Andrew Kittredge, and Canning has and Dennis Garcia says the Jays brass has been high on a lot of people. No doubt. Look, no doubt. But you know what they've been saying about Anthony Kay all year. And Slat says, Jimmy, what about an over in the Jays-O's game? No. No. All the tickets are on the over. The public is on the over. And this total's gone from 11 to 10.5. And I say that telling you that I've left a ton of money on the table, not betting overs in Harvey starts and not fading Harvey in his starts as well. But as our man Guillermo Zertucci would say, you don't want to be late to the party and early to the funeral. Uncle Oliver says first 5 money line Orioles seems to be the play. It's hard to trust Harvey. All right, Mally Mouse says Tampa Bay won last night on a wild pitch. I'm not sure if Canning is moving. It seems like he's moving in the right direction. 5-4, 5.07 ERA, 1.40 WHIP, 55 innings, 58 Ks, 24 walks, 12 home runs. In his last start, he went 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, 2 walks, 2 Ks, and an 8-4 loss at the A's. Andrew Kittredge is the opener, and he's been excellent this year. He hands off to Josh Fleming. So first we'll talk about Kittredge quickly. Kittredge, 5-1, 1.27 ERA, 0.88 WHIP, 35 in the third, 33 Ks, 10 walks, 2 home runs. It's been very good this year. And then you have Fleming as the primary. Michael Everly says, Harvey looked good last time out. He had 4 innings with 1 hit. I always look to fade Harvey every start, but I'm staying off this game. Mally Mouse says Fleming seems hittable. Okay, so let's talk a little more about the primary and Josh Fleming. Okay, so Fleming, 6-4, 3.59 ERA, 1.07 WHIP, 62 2/3, 38 Ks, 15 walks. So his last start, he got hit hard. 6 1/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 6.5 extra inning loss at the Mariners. But it's his splits. His splits are a mess. On the road, where he got hit very hard, he's 3-1 with a 5.16 ERA and a opponent's batting average of 282. At home, though, he's 3-3, 2.18 ERA, opponent's batting average of 165. That's a big difference. Jerry Beatty says Canning deals here, but the Rays hit Hardy righties nice. 237, 26 OPS. There's our guy Matt Janning in the house. Got a professional basketball player rolling with us. I love it. Thank you for joining us, Matt. So Angels hit lefties hard. 253, 762 OPS. So let's go to the baseball data. See if that can lead us anywhere. Griffin Canning, 222, 874 OPS against them. They're 4 for 18. So small sample size, 4 for 18, but two of those hits are triples. 1 is a homer. So just 1 single. And then against Fleming, 294, a high batting average, but no power. 5 for 17 with 3 singles and 2 doubles. So there's Troy V. Nice to see my guy Troy in the house. Nice to see Troy V in the house. All right. Matty's playing over in Spain right now professionally. Man, Google him. You'll see an unbelievably spectacular basketball career. And he's hanging with us, man. Ricky Levine says, Canning has pitched very well lately, but can't trust Angels lineup, too unpredictable. Jansen missed the taint yesterday. Going for a sweep, Jansen, my man. Okay, so let's go to the market in this spot here. All right. We have Kittredge and the Rays opening up at minus 150 and now minus 164. Look, this makes a lot of sense to me. You have a bullpen that's lights out right now, 3.09 ERA, 1.13 whip, converted 22 of 32 save opportunities against this Angels bullpen that's a train wreck, 4.85 ERA, 1.44 whip, converted 16 of 28. That is true, Puzzler. That is true. MMA locker room in the house. Great to see you, Millsy, my man. Okay, so let's see where the cash is in this spot. We have 91% of the tickets. Now, we only have 2,500 tickets in, but 91% of the tickets, 96% of the cash on the Rays, and it's moving in that direction. Then we have 78% of the tickets and 66% of the cash on the over. That's a lot of the public on the Rays. Is that too much of the public on the Rays? Is that too much? Just nobody sitting here, nobody betting the Angels. William Mann says Canning has allowed just 3 runs while striking out 8 over his past 11 2/3. Rays have struck out more than any other team in MLB, but it's mainly against lefties that they really hit or strike out against. Excuse me. Renee says Canning's also on the spin rate drop list. All right, I would like to take the Rays on the -1 line. Lucky Power on the over. The market's moving in the direction, and there's only 2,500 tickets in. You know what? Let's revisit this at the end. Let's revisit the tickets and see if some money's come in on the Angels. Okay, so I'm very interested in the Rays on the -1 line here. Let's move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. The Atlanta Braves 35-39, 15-19 away at the Cincinnati Reds, 37-36, 17-16 at home. And yesterday, let's pull up the notes from yesterday's Braves-Red game. I didn't follow my gut. There were some sharp cappers on the over in this spot. Where the hell is it? Sorry. Here we go. I was confident that Tony Santillan was going to have a nice start for the Reds, even against a Braves team that hits 233, 745 OPS. When Jesse Chavez was announced as the starter, and he's been so good in the minors this year, and we have another journeyman in today's card that's got the very similar situation, and he's playing for his job. He's playing to still have a career. I should have moved on the under at that point, and it kept me off of Santillan. But something is really happening here at this time of the season when pitchers have 2 and 3 straight starts at home. And I think that we should start hammering this until the All-Star break. Really start hammering it, because it's clear as a bell to me that these pitchers are pitching much better than their numbers indicate when it's their 2nd or 3rd straight start at home, when they have the consistency, the continuity, they're in their routine. Okay. Brian Watson says, can't bet Taint, not at bet 365 yet. Brian Watson, don't worry. I took the first 4.5. Excuse me, the first 4.5 minus a half. That's what I had to do. So, and I got a plus line doing it. So, Brian, my concern is you wait too long, you could get in trouble. Christopher Gargaro, because the market's going to be moving in that direction. Yes, Mike M. I will do my absolute best because it's clearly happening in front of us. Christopher Gargaro is going to say Smiley's on my spin drop list, but his math checks out for the line. 5.5 Ks is the right number. Haven't projected at 5.56. Okay. All right, so let's go here. 84 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 11 miles per hour sideways at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. We have Drew Smiley on the bump for the Braves, 4-3. Yes, Taint is in. It's the White Sox first 5 minus a half. White Sox first 5 minus a half. And those of you on Bet365, I took the first 4.5 minus a half, and I believe I got plus 105. Okay. Smiley, whom I like. You guys know. I got a soft spot for Smiley, but I don't trust him, and I don't back him. But I've always liked him, and when his arm exploded pitching for America in the World Cup of Baseball, I had some compassion for him. John Garcia says, all books offer first 3. I never knew this. I don't know if they all do. But Bet365 is losing. I can't say it enough. Look at what the best books are losing at and attack it any chance you get. And the books that make the most money aren't even offering first 5 team totals because they lose at them. Now Bet365 is afraid to offer first 5 run lines. Why? Because they're losing at them. Those should be the spots that you focus on. Focus on. All right, uncool. Let's roll. Troy V says, love White Sox today. Rodon's spin rate will not have much drop. Yeah, I think Rodon's going to have it. Oh, look what he just did against the Astros, who smashed lefties. But we'll get to that game. Okay, we're taking too long here. We got so much work to do. Let's roll. Smiley, last start was very good at home versus the Cardinals in a 7-inning doubleheader, but let's take that with a grain of salt because the Cardinals aren't hitting lefties at all of a sudden, out of nowhere, not hitting them at all. 5 2/3, 1 hit, 3 walks, 5 Ks, 1-0 win at home. And also, that was a home start. Vladimir Gutierrez, the 25-year-old Cuban on the other side, 3-1, 3.86 ERA, 1.32 whip, 28 innings, 23 Ks, 14 walks, 3 home runs. In his last start, he went 5 innings. He allowed 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 home run, 4 walks, 4 Ks in a 7-5 loss at the Padres. And look, it's tough for a rookie to go on the road. And now he's going back home, which is probably where he's more comfortable. But I think that his statistics here, season long, 3.86 ERA, 1.32 whip, are really helped by that first start. And if you remember, that very first start of his career was at Wrigley. And it was 21-mile-per-hour winds coming in, and every ball that went in the air completely stopped. And I don't trust him here. Yes, beautiful, Brian Watson. We're on the same bet. And Brian Watson, let's keep an eye on if this is hurting us badly, because obviously Bet365 is putting us in this position. And if we would have cashed had we had first 5s, let's stop doing this and just we'll be forced then to open up Pinnacle. Okay, so Braves versus righties, 233, 744 OPS. Reds versus lefties, 224, 698 OPS. And we know that Acuna hasn't played in 2 straight games. Braves bullpen, 4.89 ERA, 1.43 whip. They're bad. So are the Reds bullpen, bad. And probably not even worse. Probably the same shittiness. 5.67 ERA, 1.46 whip, converted 18 of 30 save opportunities. Let's see what the market is doing here. Atlanta, Cincy. Atlanta opening up at plus 114, and they're now at plus 108. And this makes sense to me. That we have information now on Gutierrez. He was an unknown factor early, and he's starting to get touched. Now, what is keeping me off this is the ability for, 2 things at this point. That Acuna may not be in the lineup with the back injury, and then Gutierrez may be better at home. So let's then move to the baseball data. Is there any baseball data that can help us here? Well, the Braves haven't seen Gutierrez. So we do know that there's scouts who've seen him now, so we can talk about him. And then against these Reds, they're hitting 214 with an 869 OPS against Smiley. So where are the big bats? Winker 0 for 1, Votto 0 for 5, Suarez 0 for 1. That helps. Troy V, it is 84 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 11 miles per hour sideways. I think that the Braves are the play here. It's sideways, Robert Allen, as far as I had it with my – let me just see what RotoWire says, because the way I looked at it, I had it sideways. God, it's taking too long. Yeah, so right to left, sideways. So what are the advantages at this point? Well, we know that the Braves hit righties harder than they hit lefties. Let's see where the money is in this spot. We have 53% of the money line tickets on Cincy, 60% of the cash on Cincy, and the market's moving towards the Braves. So I think this is another similar spot like that Phillies game 1. This was not part of my plan, but we're taking a lot of time breaking these games down, and I think that the Braves should be added to my card today. And if Acuna is announced in, I mean, that would be a big help. But let's see Gutierrez, now that we have information on him, continue to succeed. And we know that those season stats are skewed because of that first start in Wrigley with 20 miles an hour coming in. Okay, the Braves are on my card now. Okay, let's move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Houston Astros at Detroit Tigers. The Astros are 47-28, 21-15 on the road at the Tigers, 32-43, 17-20 at home at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. 75 Fahrenheit rain, 14 miles per hour in. I expect this game to be rained out. Framber Valdez going up against Willie Peralta. Look, Peralta's been a train wreck. I'm sure that is the case. Peralta's been a train wreck, but he's only had one start. Alyssa Fanning says, so Braves to win. Look, Alyssa Fanning, I expect that to make the card, and we'll go over everything, but I wouldn't say that it's my most confident play. I really believe in the White Sox on the -1 line and the Dodgers on the -1 line. But so I do not think this game goes. Now, I've left money on the table not betting a game because I didn't think it was going to go, and it's gone. But Framber Valdez, he just won at home versus the White Sox, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. He looked very good. There's a sweaty butcher in the house. And Robert Allen says, I got over 10.5 and Braves money line. I like that. And 100% rain out. It's pissing all day. So, look, I just don't expect it. Yes, ride the Astros train. They're playing spectacular baseball, and especially on Saturday when they're really rested after no game Friday, which I don't think they'll have. If this game does go, yes, I would understand why you'd back the Astros, but I do not think this game will go. So you guys know here, there's 77% of the tickets on the Astros and 83% of the money line cash on the Astros. That's surprising. And also we have 53% of the tickets on the under and 93% of the cash on the under. But again, I do not think this goes. Let's move on because we're tight for time. 7:10 p.m. Eastern, Yankees Red Sox next up on the docket. Yankees are 40-34, 19-16 on the road at the Boston Red Sox, 44-31, 20-17 at home. We're at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. 76 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 8 miles per hour out to left. Domingo Germán on the bump. When I saw this game initially, my first instinct was bet the Yankees with Germán on the mound, but he has not been good and should not be trusted. Let's see what the market is for this spot very quickly. So we're a full game. Let's go back to money lines and totals instead. And you guys know what Martin Perez has done to me. Actually, it's not quite as bad. I have made money fading him, but he's also got me when I've been very confident. So here we go. Yankees, Red Sox. This total at 10 has now moved to 10.5 at Pinnacle. Interesting. And there's been a 5-cent move towards the Red Sox. Kyle Hintlian says, Boston, baby, Brian Watson on the Yanks. Oh, nice. Kyle Hintlian, you going to Fenway today? God, I hope you are. So Germán's last start was at home versus the A's, and he got touched. 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Martin Perez here. Martin Perez, 5-4, 4.32. Okay. Yes, Colorado at Milwaukee. Thank you, Puzzler, for our man Jose. Okay, Martin Perez, 5-4, 4.32 ERA, 1.4 whip, 66 and 2/3, 57 Ks, 24 walks, 8 home runs. Right when I think he's completely fallen off, he has a good start like he did at the Royals. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 0 homers, 2 walks, 3 Ks, and a 7-1 win at the Royals. The Yankees are hitting lefties harder now, so keep an eye out for that. They're hitting lefties harder, 239, 715 OPS. Red Sox hit righties hard all year, 252, 754 OPS. Miley Miles saying Germán is struggling. Robert Allen says, man, I love the Yankees Red Sox play. I can't bet this one, though, just going to watch it. Yankees bullpen 3.19 ERA, 1.14 whip, 20 of 28 converted save opportunities. They've been so good all season long. It's the Red Sox bullpen that has not been it's much better than I expected it to be. It had a great start to the season. Then it started falling off, and I was like, I expect this. And then it's come back on again. But their whip is still very high. 3.68 ERA, 1.40 whip, 22 of 33 save opportunities. Okay, so let's take a look at baseball data, and then we'll see where the cash is in this spot. We have against Germán 222, 685 OPS. They're just 14 for 63. But I don't like what I'm seeing from Germán. And we're not going back to a home start. We're still on the road with them. Against Martin Perez, they're hitting 267 with a 949 OPS. Look, I get why this has gone over. It makes sense to me. So let's just confirm where the cash is here. We have 59% of the tickets on the Yankees, 61% of the money line cash on them. And then here we go. With the red flag time. 59% of the tickets on the over. The over moving from 10 to 10.5, but 72% of cash on the under. Very, very interesting. And enough of a red flag. And it looks like I'm going to have a lot of action today, which I didn't know if I was. So I'm not on this Yankees Red Sox spot. Would it shock me if these two have a good start? No, I guess it wouldn't. Why don't we just see if there's enough information on the first five? There may not be. And there's not. Okay. Let's move on. We move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Washington Nationals at Miami Marlins. Nationals are 36, 15, 18 on the road. Miami Marlins 31-43, 16-17 at home. And this was the Taint play of the day that cashed so easily for us yesterday. Washington Nationals first five. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. I don't know what's going on with the roof in Miami. I have a very tough time getting this information. Now, Flush Ounce is telling you Yanks look like they have a great vibe offensively the last 2 days. They do. They look like they're coming on. I agree. Eric Jones on Boston moneyline and the under 10.5. And Glenn Man says Kyle Schwarber hit a home run at plus 242. First play in Major League history to homer 12 times in the leadoff spot over 13 games. And 8 homers over his last 5 games? All right, the Dirty K prop was waiting for the lines to come out. It is out. Dirty K prop is out. Rondon over 8.5 Ks. Going to copy and paste that. So that means that in our White Sox game, we have Taint, we have Jose, and we have the Dirty K prop. So a lot to talk about in that game. So let's wait. We're going to do that in a couple more games. That is 2 more games away after this one, and then we'll get there. Okay, so let's stay with this Nats spot. Lone Depot Park, Miami, Florida. John Lester on the bump for the Nats. 1-2, 3.96 ERA, 1.44 WHIP, 50 innings, 35 Ks, 17 walks, 8 home runs, and they chose to give him extra rest. In his last start, he went 6 innings, allowed 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 0 walks, 6 Ks, and a 6-2 win at home over the Mets in the 7-inning doubleheader. Going up against Pablo Lopez, 3-4, 2.86 ERA, 1.07 WHIP, 85 innings, 85 Ks, 21 walks, 8 home runs allowed. He's very dangerous at home, but the Nats are raking right now. What do you do? There's mixed messages in this spot because I like Lopez at home. I like him. Nationals versus righties, 246, 707 OPS, but they're raking right now. Marlins versus lefties, just 225, 657 OPS. When I think that Lester can slow down the Marlins, I'm like, oh, and there's Lopez at home. Why not take the under? We can't take the under because of the way the Nats are hitting right now. Nats bullpen, 3.95 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, converted 18 of 26. Marlins bullpen, 3.66 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, have converted 13 of 29. Turnsy says Matt Randall is amazing. Doesn't ask for a thing in return and continues to put cash in our pockets. We love you, Maddie. Well put, Turnsy. Northander says glad the Nationals won on the money line. I thought that was Taint played it and gave it to someone to play. Oh, okay, all good. It's still cash. Okay, so Gambler's first glance is in. Red Sox money line plus 105 versus the Yankees. Gambler's first glance. Check that out today and every day on Pub Sports Radio. Okay, so let's go to the market. Then we'll go to the data, and then we'll go see where the money is. So first off, we're going to talk market here in this Marlins Washington spot. Total at 7.5. It was a pick'em at minus 106 each way at Pinnacle, and now it's at minus 110. So a 4-cent move towards the over. And the Marlins taking money, opening up at minus 127, now at minus 142. Very interesting. Marlins are taking money against this very hot Nat squad, and it must mean that the market thinks that Lester's vulnerable. When we go to the money and tickets, 49% of the tickets on the Marlins, 56% of the cash. No real help there. 43% of the tickets on the under and 74% of the cash on the under. And look, I get that. Gerald Jones says under first 5 lean Washington, hot versus cold Miami. Noli Knows says under. Well, let's go see if the baseball data helps us here in this spot. Against Lester, they're hitting 274, 733 OPS, but they're just not hitting. And then against the Nats, they're 240 with a 724 OPS. So let's look at Schwarber. Schwarber 1 for 3 against them. Soto 8 for 17 with 3 doubles and 2 homers. Ooh-wee. Robert Major says, what do you think about me taking the Hawks game over? Robert Major, the market is a little scary right now. We're going to talk about that game after baseball. But that was my first instinct studying the pace. And in fact, just in case of the way I kind of see the game structured, I was going to go on a first half over. But let's wait. Okay, so Noli knows is on an under, and you know what that means. If your capping correlates to an under, you've got the king of unders on your side, which is very, very good. Yes, CG Hustle. I do not expect that Astros game to be played. Okay, so I'm not going to move on this at this point, but I am going to put a note here that Noli is on the under. Okay, we move on to 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Kansas City Royals at Texas Rangers. Royals 33-40, 15-21. Rangers 27-48, 17-21 at home. When I was studying last night, I was like, wow, how could I not want to back Mike Minor with the way he's been pitching right now against the Rangers who don't hit lefties, going up against Dane Dunning, who's been so bad this year. And then I saw the market moving towards the Rangers, and I thought, what is going on? How could this be going on? I said, okay, just sit back, get the numbers down, and we'll talk about it on the show. Mike Minor, Globe Life Field, Arlington, Texas. Rangers 17-21 at home. Royals 15-21 on the road. Mike Minor 6-4, 4.48 ERA, 1.18 WHIP, 86 in the third, 92 Ks, 25 walks, 14 home runs. In his last start, he was very good at home versus the Red Sox. 6 2/3, 9 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Then we have Dunning, who has bad numbers on the season. He has bad numbers in his last start, but he's been lights out against this Royal squad. And it wasn't this year. That was the next thing I had to check. I was like, when did I miss Dunning shutting down the Royals? It was not this year, which adds another twist. Dunning, 2-6, 4.71 ERA, 1.54 WHIP, 65 innings, 71 Ks, 23 walks, 6 home runs. Matty Ice says Nats again today. Soto smashes from our Matty Ice. In Dunning's last start, he went 4 innings, allowed 10 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 1 home run, 2 walks, 5 Ks, and a 4-2 loss at home versus Twins. Royals versus righties, 240, 694 OPS. And I already gave you the Rangers' poor stats versus lefties. Royals bullpen 4.31 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. Rangers bullpen 4.62 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. Not much of a difference there, although the Royals bullpen has been quite bad of late. Turnsey says I have White Sox first 5 minus half minus 130. No, we did the first 4.5. Is it out now? You must be on a different book than. Yeah, it's still not available at Bet3, and I don't expect it to be available. Okay, so let's go over to baseball data so I can just show you right now what Dunning has done and why it threw me for a loop and why it's kept me off this spot. They're 1 for 22 with a single. 1 for 22 with a single against them. 8 strikeouts, no walks. Crazy. And then Mike Minor, he's good against these guys too. 233, 703 OPS. So then you think, well, could I take the under? Could I move on the under in this spot if Dunning gets these guys out? And the market has moved towards the under. It was initially at over 8 and minus 115. It's now under 8 and minus 111. So do we trust that stat alone? Do we look past what Dunning has done this year and simply trust that he can get these guys out? I don't know if I can do that. When we go to first 5, it was at 4.5 and it's now at 4. So that was probably the move. Probably the move was to trust those stats, get that at 4.5. But look, it's at 4 across the board, and I'm not going to reach here. And I am confused. And that's tricky. So let's see where the money is at in this Royals-Texas game. So here we go. We have 40% of the tickets on the Rangers, but 56% of the cash. So clearly, let's go back to the full game. Let's look directly at the money lines. Clearly, and I saw this last night, and I was like, wow, there is sharp action on the Rangers. They opened up at minus 101. They're now at minus 119 at Pinnacle. I can't wait to see what happens in this game with the incongruent statistics. So there's no move for me. But if your first thought was, man, I want to back Mike Minor in this spot against Dunning. Dunning's a bum. That was my first thought too. But when the information doesn't add up, for me, you have to leave the game alone. No, you don't. I take that back. You can still find your angle and trust it. But for me, I have to leave the game alone. And the more that we talk about it now, that first 5 under 4.5 is probably the look. But it doesn't all correlate. We move on to 8:10 p.m. Eastern, the Cleveland Indians at Minnesota Twins. So the 5-inning lines up now, the 5-inning run lines, because the 5-inning lines have always been a puzzler. They just not the alternate run lines. Okay. Robert Allen says, why the heck's anyone on the Rangers? I watch them every day, and I just don't get it. Remember the last time the market was on the Rangers? It was that crazy Fulton-Navich start when the market moved towards the Rangers against the A's, and they won that game 5-3. There's so many different elements in handicapping MLB, and look, we are winning right now. All of us are winning in a very, very difficult sport to beat. And what I have been doing is, if it doesn't all correlate, just let that shit go. We move on to the Indians, Minnesota Twins. So here is the spot I was telling you about with Danny Coulombe. With Danny Coulombe, it's very similar to yesterday's start with Jesse Chavez. We have journeyman 30-year-old, 30 plus. I mean, Chavez got to be 36, 37. I mean, maybe 38. And look, Danny Coulombe is not as old. He's a 31-year-old, not a high draft pick. In fact, out of high school, he was going to be a higher draft pick than he was after he attended university. This is not nobody wanted Danny Coulombe, but his career is on the line. His ability to make a living is on the line in the start. Now, it's a little different than Jesse Chavez, who has had a long career. Danny Coulombe in AAA this year has a 1.77 ERA, a 0.93 whip. He's not going to be in there very long. It's going to be a bullpen day for the Minnesota Twins, and we know how bad their bullpen is. But he probably gets them off on the right foot, because the Indians only hit 221, 677 OPS for lefties. And it was what kept me off of fading the Braves yesterday, was you have these journeymen who have earned their right to get this opportunity. Look what this 31-year-old has done. He could have easily given up. Instead, he has an excellent year in AAA, and now he gets a chance to play in the show. Going up against Cal Quantrill, 0-2, 2.74 ERA, 1.27 whip, 42 2/3, 34 Ks, 14 walks, 3 home runs. His last start was good at the Pirates. 5 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks, and 6-3 loss there. 83 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 7 miles per hour in. The Indians are 21-18 on the road, 41-31 overall. And the Twinkies continue to lose, 15-23 at home, 31-43 at home, or 31-43 overall. So let's look at what the market has done in this spot. The Twins open up at minus 125. They're now minus 121. A 4-cent move towards the Indians. Let's see what's going on with the total here. Now, the total is at 9.5. It was a pick 'em. Now it's heavily more juice to the over. And I'll tell you what, I can't trust whoever comes in after Danny Coulombe. I can't trust him. So I can't. Well, if Coulombe goes through 2 innings and he, 6 up and 6 down, and they pull him, because he's not been going long in his starts. He started a few games. He's also come out of the bullpen. He's not going to see the lineup probably a second time. Who comes in after? This is a train wreck bullpen. But we know that the full game has gone over, or is going up. What's the first 5 doing? Let's just check that out quickly. That might tell the tale here. The first 5 opened at 5 and is now at 5.5. So no, I can't. I don't want anything to do with this. And look, if you sit back in your capping and say, oh, for humanitarian reasons, I believe this man is going to fight hard and try to get a paycheck in the Major League Baseball. That's not a leg really to stand on. It is just an angle that we see play. And I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, look, I don't know anything about Danny Coulombe. Look, I know that Jesse Chavez has fought to keep his career going. So here we go. 58% of the tickets on Cleveland, 49% of the cash. And we don't have the cash for the over-under. There's only 882 tickets in on this game, so we shouldn't even talk where the money is. So the only last thing we want to see is baseball data against Quantrill, 214, 695 OPS. So no move for me. Glenn Elliott Man says Minnesota 45-22 over on the season, 22-12 over at home. Christopher Gargaro says, please don't bet my Twins. Just don't even watch them. I've been a fan since I was born, and I can barely watch them. And Rusty Kuntz, Bucks, Hawks, first half over 113.5. Rusty Kuntz. Oh, Rusty Kuntz. That's a play I find very, very interesting. Trinzy, I think I might even tighten up those bolts a bit and just take the Bucks first half team total over. Rusty Kuntz. Okay, so there's gonna be no move for me in the Cleveland Minnesota game. All right, so we move into the big game that we all want to talk about here. The big game. We start with the Taint play of the day, going for a sweep of the week. He swept the week 2 weeks ago, and now he's going for a second week sweep in 3 weeks. It is the White Sox first 5 minus a half. Taint, baby, Taint. Week sweep. We start with Taint. Then we move to our man, Sharpie. Our man, David Sharpie. We have Rondon over 8.5 Ks at minus 130. Says he is 4-0 to the number, 8.5, 4-0 to the number when facing a top 10 K percentage team. Seattle's number 3 in K percentage and 27 in walk percentage. Means they don't walk, they swing out the shoes. That is the Dirty K strikeout prop of the day. And we have more. We move to the Jose Seihei play of the day. And I heard his analysis yesterday. He was high on Pivetta. Now, the Rays ended up winning the game, but I heard his analysis not believing in Pivetta, and Pivetta threw an absolute gem. We have Tata Booker in the house. Great to see you, Tata Booker. Please welcome to the show the man on the ones and twos, Jose in the house. Say hey, play the day. How are you, Jose?
I'm not great, Jimmy. It's one of those days where you have to take a Jimmy, you would be, something about this. When it gets very cold, there's ice on your windshield in the mornings. You take your ice scraper, you scrape it all off. That was me trying to get out of bed this morning, Jimmy. It was brutal. The Red Sox lose 1-0 on a walk-off fashion. I bet the over. That was not fun. The Red Sox lose. That was also not fun. And it's just not a fun night. But Jimmy, I have found myself on the right side of history today, and that makes me feel better.
I'm very excited to hear your plan and if it all correlates, because I'm already double dipped on the White Sox, and I believe I smashed the market move a full game, because that's the only one I'm able to smash at Bet365. I got minus 185 on the money line, and minus 1.5 I got plus 110. The White Sox right now, where is it? Oh, shoot. The first 5's gone from 4 to 3.5, which is a little scary when you take, minus 1 or minus 1.5. And that's money line. Sorry. Here we go. Total's gone from 8 to 7.5. And Rodon has gone from minus 170 to minus 198 at Pinnacle, and he's now at minus 200. So I'm very happy with that market move. 77 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 9 miles per hour, sideways, a guaranteed rate field. White Sox are 27-12 at home, and the Seattle Mariners have been pretty good on the road, 15-21. We got Kukuch against Carlos Rodon. Kukuch versus Rodon, and Kukuch has been very good, but as Sharpie's let us know over and over when he's done the K props, that he likes to fade the Rays when they're going up against a lefty because they strike out nonstop, and Kukuch shut them down. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 Ks, and he's had a good season. But as the great Pedro Martinez once said about the New York Yankees, it appears that the White Sox are Kikuchi's daddy. And I probably, as soon as I was saying that, I was like, oh, you know what? That's Kikuchi's dad died in that first year that he came over here. So that was I apologize, Kikuchi. I shouldn't say anything about your dad. May he rest in peace. Kikuchi against the White Sox, 484 and a 1.355 OPS against them. They hit him hard. And then Rodon, just 174, 626 OPS against them. Rodon just shut down the Houston Astros in Houston. Rodon is dangerous. White Sox 272, 792 OPS for lefties. Mariners 216, 659 OPS. Take it away, Jose. How are you hammering this?
I mean, it can't. You obviously can't bet the Mariners. I mean, the Mariners are a dumpster fire. Kikuchi has been a bright spot, but Jimmy, he's kind of in your guys fighting for his career category. He's a free agent after this year. Mariners probably aren't going to re-sign him because the Mariners don't like spending money. So definitely fighting for his career. But like you said, I don't like hearing that quote about Pedro, my king. But sometimes you just have to chalk it up and say that another team is your daddy. And the White Sox are a good hitting team. Not haven't been as of late, and I think that Kikuchi could be right what the doctor ordered for them. I'm on the team total. I'm on the team total here. I was looking across far and wide to see what I could bet, but I'm taking the team total over 4.5. It's at -102. Earlier, it was at even money when the show started, or plus money when the show started. So I'm on that. I mean, it all falls in line. We all think the White Sox should roll today, so they need to score runs to do it. So I'm on it.
I'm excited that is within this game that we'll be watching very, very closely and a different angle. But my thought is not, especially with this total being bet down, my thought is not that Kikuchi gets rigged. I am betting on the left arm of Carlos Rodon to completely stymie and shut down the Mariners. So it does make me a tiny bit concerned for you. But let's see. And here we go. We have 36% of the tickets on the under, but 63% of the cash. Now, it has moved from 8 to 7.5, and it was an early move, so we don't know when those bets came in. But we have 82% of the tickets on the White Sox and 98% of the cash. That does make me a little nervous. Glenn Man says 2021 Kikuchi isn't 2020 Kikuchi. So,
that is accurate. That is very accurate. He's been a lot better. He's figured it out. But you have to ask yourself, what was the change? Was it the sticky stuff that he's just like, fuck it, I got to start using it? Because as we know, we've had all our guys telling us, updating us, last start he dominated, but all of his spin rates were down. Is that going to catch up to him eventually? I don't know, but I think this might be the day. In 2 starts against the White Sox career, 0-1, 7 innings pitched, 9 earned runs. I just can't do it.
No, I like it. I like it. Now, he was a complete mess in his first season when his dad died, because his dad died right at the start of the season, and it just threw him for a huge loop. And so I had high hopes for him when he came over, but we've noticed that it's very tough for the Japanese and Korean pitchers to come over here and be elite. But
yeah, I definitely have a spot for him too. I love all these the Korean pitchers and hitters: Ji-Man Choi, Shohei Ohtani, Kikuchi, all of them. Kim on the Cardinals. It's a weakness for me, Jim. I'm not gonna lie.
It's very strange weakness. It's a very strange weakness. It's usually the opposite sex.
Well, Jimmy, come on. Have you seen me?
Yeah, no, it's fine. If you have man love for Asian ball players, let's never speak of it again, and just follow.
Well, I definitely talk about Shohei Ohtani a lot.
Well, that's it. You know what? Let's just cut this one here. All right, that was Jose's Say Hey play of the day, and a strange ending for us. Strange ending, but we love him very much, regardless of his man love for Asian ball players. We love him very, very much, and there's nothing wrong with that, Jose. Nothing wrong. So, you do you. You're a young man. If you're interested in experimenting, however you want to handle yourself, we will still be there for you the next day. There we go. Jose's team total over 4.5 at -102. -102 for Jose. We have the Dirty K prop on Rodon over 8.5. We have the Taint play of the day on the White Sox first 5 -0.5. And we have now got more information on our friend Jose. Okay. We move on. Oh, there's Dave Berkey in the house. Says Rangers do it today against the Royals. See, Dave Berkey. Berkey, baby. Just in time for little Asian man love, Berkey. 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Next up on the docket, Pittsburgh Pirates 27-46, 11-25 on the road at the St. Louis Cardinals 36-39, 19-16 at home. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. 88 Fahrenheit, humid, mostly cloudy, 12 miles per hour out to left. And how easy was it fading Carlos Martinez yesterday? Pirates first 5, cool, coming off a good start. has another good start. We remember Gas Station Sushi saying, try to find a reason to bet the 5 worst teams in Major League Baseball. You're always going to get value on them. And that plus 130 was too fucking easy. God, it felt good. Fucking good. All right. Will Crow going up against Kwang Yun Kim. I guess we should bring Jose back for this. Maybe get a little, little drool. And Jose. All right. Big smile. Face. All right. Crow 4 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 home runs, solo shots, 2 walks, 2 Ks, and a 6-3 win at home versus the Indians. So Cool and Crow both have bad numbers, but with Cool, he was coming off a strong start. And Crow's not coming off a bad start, but not a good one. Kwang Young Kim, 1-5, 3.60 ERA, 1.32 WHIP, 50 innings, 44 Ks, 18 walks, 6 home runs. They're not comfortable with him on the mound. They do not want him to ever see a lineup 3 times, ever. In the last start, it was a 7-inning doubleheader, and they only let him go 4. And he was throwing pretty well. 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 Ks, and a 1-0 loss at Atlanta. The Pirates don't hit lefties, 224, 654 OPS. Cardinals don't hit righties, 223, 662 OPS. Pirates bullpen 3.94 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, converted 10 of 14 save opportunities. Cardinals bullpen 4.26 ERA, 1.41 WHIP, have converted 21 of 27 save opportunities. All right, so let's go to the market here with this Pittsburgh spot. Kim opening up a minus 163, is now at minus 167, a 4-cent move towards him. That is not much. Let's see what this total has done. This total opening up at 8, going to 9, 8.5, going to 9. That makes perfect sense. And I just can't trust this St. Louis ball club to get me the offense that is going to be required. And I did think maybe I should back Crow. Maybe I should back Crow and the Pirates once again. Hustle Wilson says Cardinals a spreadsheet play. Thank you for reminding us that, yes, Ron Crawford is on the Cardinals spreadsheet play. But this offense is just so quiet. Let's go to pitcher versus batter. Crow, they're hitting 154 with a 620 OPS. He's 2 for 13 against them. Kwang Young Kim, 273, 697 OPS. So I don't know if I can make a move. Let's see where the cash is at in this spot. We have 63% of the tickets on the Cardinals, 78% of the cash, and slightly moving to the Pirates. Just very slightly moving to the Cardinals direction. Then we have 54% of the tickets and 95% of the cash on the under, and it's going up. The total's going up. I think there's some sharps who just know how quiet these offenses for St. Louis Cardinals. I think this game can easily go under first 5. Let's go back to that. But why would I be first 5? I can trust these bullpens enough. I don't even need Bo because it's moved to 9. So we've had no move on the first 5 under 4.5. Wow. Glenn Man leaning to the over. These offenses are so quiet. I think that I think the under is the play. Why is it moved to 9, and when did it move to 9? Let's go to full game here. Offense is doing nothing. I think we just keep hammering these unders with these very quiet bats. When did Pinnacle move it to 9? Pinnacle opened it up at 8.5. It was there for 15 minutes, went to 9. Then went back to 8.5. It was there for 5 or 6 hours and then to 9. Ooh-wee. There's Eric Thomas. Great to see you. Okay, I think the under 9 should be on the board. But they're moving it to 9 with all the money coming in on the under. So you know what? Maybe I don't want to mess with that. Maybe that is confounding. Maybe what I'm going to focus on here is the first 5 under 4.5. That has moved. It's pretty much not moved. Okay, I'm in. First 5 under 4.5. That's what I'm moving on. Let's move on to 9:45 p.m. We have 3 games left, and we got to move quickly because we got NBA, and then we have NHL, and we get to celebrate our man, Mr. Gogster's birthday. So we go to 9:45 p.m. Eastern. Oakland Athletics, 46-31, 21-13 on the road at the Giants, 48-26, 24-10 at home. We're at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. 58 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 13 miles per hour out to left center. Sean Manaea versus Johnny Cueto. Manaea's been very good of late, but I still can't trust them against these Giants bats against lefties, 243, 758 OPS, and the A's are smashing righties, 235, 730 OPS. I don't really trust what I've seen out of Cueto. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs, 0 walks, 5 Ks, and a 5-3 win at home versus Phillies. He's still quick pitching. He's still shimmying. He's got all those tricks in his sleeve, and he needs them. There's Gas Station Sushi in the house. Great to see you, Gas, my man. Sean Manaea, 6-3, 3.01 ERA, 1.21 WHIP, 89 Ks and 86 2/3. He just had 11 Ks in the 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs at the Yankees. Cueto 5-3, 4.05 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. A's versus righties, we went over that. A's bullpen 4.03 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. 20 of 29 converted save opportunities. Giants bullpen 3.35 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. Converted 27 of 42 save opportunities. Let's go to the baseball data here. Manaea against the Giants, 275 with a 739 OPS, and they're just raking right now. And then Cueto against the A's, 241, 749 OPS. This is a tricky ball game. Let's see what we have here in the market. We have the total going from 8.5 to 7.5, so a huge move full game. Wow, huge move. Expecting the pitchers to be excellent, and the A's open up at -108. Now they're at -109. This is very, very tough. Robert Down says, I can't believe Belt is hurt. No Belt, no Longoria. Giants losing people left and right. This is too tough to call, in my opinion. Matty I says, being huge on the Giants, but this is an athletic spot. Yeah, if I had a free play, I would take the Oakland Athletics. Let's see where the money is. Here we go. We have 51% of the tickets and 30% of the cash on the A's. 58% of the tickets and 80% of the cash on the over, and it's dropped a full run. I have to stay off of this spot. We move on to 10:10 p.m. Eastern. Arizona Diamondbacks at San Diego Padres, Petco Park in San Diego, California. Diamondbacks are 9-31 on the road. Padres 28-14 at home. 69 Fahrenheit, clear, 9 miles per hour, sideways in. We have Corbin Martin, the 25-year-old second-round draft pick in 2017 out of Texas A&M, and he's not looked good. So 15 2/3, 13 Ks, 12 walks. In 3 2/3 last start at home versus the Dodgers, who are a dangerous opposition, he allowed 4 earned runs, no homers, 7 hits, 3 walks, 3 Ks, and a 9-8 loss at home versus Dodgers. Kevin Riley says, nice pick yesterday. Woodbine Gas, any good horse racing picks today? Yes, those of you who made a move on his daily double came very close to an enormous score because the horse he singled in race 1 at Woodbine cashed at 7-1. It was a brilliant call, and we were live for a giant score, which was just missed. Okay. So, Corbin Martin, this year in AAA Reno. Now, remember, it's Reno, it's a PCL, there's inflated numbers. 2-0, 5.32 ERA, 1.65 WHIP, 23 2/3, 29 K, 16 walks, 3 home runs. It certainly looks like that K to walk issue that he's had in the minors is still rearing its head here in the show. Chris Paddock, 4-5, 4.10 ERA, 1.18 WHIP, 63 2/3, 68 Ks, 14 walks, and 9 home runs in his last start. He went 5 innings, allowed 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 11 Ks, and an 8-2 home win over the Reds. His last 2 starts have been very strong. Now he's back at home. He's been so good, but at what price? At what price? If you wanted the Padres, you had to move on them last night. They opened at -260. They're now at -295. So huge favorites. Let's go to the total here. I mean, you could say I expect Paddock to shut this team down. This total at 8.5. It was initially juiced to the over. It's now juiced to the under. So maybe Corbin Martin is capable of having an okay start. Let's go to baseball data here. The Padres have never seen Corbin Martin. Against Paddock, this Diamondbacks team is hitting .235 with a .581 OPS. I can't trust Corbin Martin is the problem. I can't trust him. I can't. If I wanted to make a move on like a as I said, they're not giving you the first 5 alternate lines at Bet365 because they're losing on them. So what could you do? What could I do? I guess I could take a first 3. But even that first 3 on the Padres -0.5 is -140. I can't do that. The first 4.5, so you lose the bottom of the 5th at -0.5 is -140. I don't know if I can do that. Brian Warner says Arizona team total under and Paddock K's over. Okay. All right. So look, I get it. Maybe it's a parlay piece for somebody, but I can't move on it. All right, let's move to the last spot of the day, and this was a bullish spot for me on the Dodgers after getting no hit yesterday. Jake Arrieta cannot do anymore. Cannot perform at a level. I don't think he'll be in the rotation for long. He had a home game versus the Marlins last night where he got destroyed. 3 innings, 6 hits, 6 runs. 4 of them are in 2 home runs. He's got a 5.45 ERA, 1.48 WHIP. It's hot in LA, 77 Fahrenheit clear, 7 miles per hour out to right center. And Tony Gonsolin, who's not being great here, will probably get a chance to stretch out a little bit against the Cubs. Maybe Gonsolin gets touched, but a little. But the Dodgers bats wake up against Arrieta. The Dodgers versus righties, 250, 768 OPS. Now that number is dropping a little bit. And the Cubs bullpen is very good. 2.63 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, so they can come in and save him quickly. Reginald Lucas says Dodgers over 9.5. I'm not going to take the over because of the elite ability of this Cubs bullpen. And we saw part of that in play yesterday. Let's take a look at this. So I got the -1 at -129. The money line was -170. The run line was -1.5 and +110. And then I got that first 5 -0.5 at +100, which was actually a little bit worse than what the White Sox got because I got the White Sox at +105. I found that interesting. That's the first 4.5, by the way, not the first 5, first 4.5. So we have the Dodgers total going from 9 to 9.5. So obviously there's a thought of offense. If this was a plan that you wanted the over, you had to have gotten in at the 9. You can't. It's too big of a move. Not at least getting the push at 9 and moving to 9.5. The Dodgers open up at -165. They're now -174, so a 9-cent move towards them. When we look at where the cash is, we only have 2,723 tickets in, but 79% of the tickets and 80% of the cash are on the Dodgers, and not a big market move. 46% of the tickets on the under and 88% of the cash on the under, and yet it's moved up, which is, as we know, a red flag. So Glenn Elliott Man says Cubs under 4 in a row, 14-20 to the under on the road. I'd stay off of these spots when the market moves a half run or a run, and I should start tracking it because I do think the money on the under makes sense here. But I've already double dipped on this game. Another Flashan says if you haven't been paying attention, the Dodgers can't hit. Period. No offense for weeks now. I think that Arrieta will be a nice little aperitif for the Dodgers to feast on. All right, let's go over our action here. We're coming off a nice 3-in-1 day, sitting at 55.1% on the season, 172-140, up 14.31 units. Yes, Danny A, we did get a dirty K prop. I'll review everything at this point. So I'm going to move on the Philadelphia Phillies in Game 1 and Aaron Nola. And I know he's not been good lately, but I find this plus line too appetizing. I think he's better than Taijuan Walker, regardless of Walker having a better season than him so far. So there we go. The first 5 under 4 is a lean in the Colorado-Milwaukee Brewers game, and at this point, I need to look at it further to decide if I'm going to pull the trigger. Then the Tampa Bay Rays -1. I wanted to revisit the tickets once we had more in, so let's do that right now. The Tampa Bay spot, where the hell is it? Come on. There we go. Now we have 3,300 tickets in. And 88% of the tickets, 82% of the cash. So Money's still not coming in on the Angels. Has there at least been a market move now for the Rays that I can at least have faith in? Yes, 15 cents from the beginning. So I'm going to stick with the Rays on the -1 line. The Rays on the -1 line. If in the Cubs-Dodgers game, Arrieta gets smoked early, it'd be a really nice live under, knowing the strength of the Cubs bullpen. I'm going to take the Rays -1 with the splits for Fleming so crazy at home and road, and here he is at home, where the opponents are batting 120 points less against them. Then I am taking the Braves on the money line here, plus money. So the Braves and Phillies are similar spots for me, where I believe it's very close to a coin flip situation, and I'm getting a nice plus line, and I believe they'll win more than 50% of the time. And I think that the book's out on Gutierrez now. So those spots are in, and then Noli's on the under in Washington, Miami, and ballsy, and I respect it. And I'm going to study it further. Then I've doubled up on the White Sox. The Dirty K prop is there too. Rondon over 8.5, and the Taint play of the day. White Sox first 5 -1/2, and Jose Seje play of the day. White Sox team total over 4.5. Then I am moving on the first 5 under 4.5 in Pirates Cardinals. It was between that and the full game at 9. I guess I'll take a few more minutes after the show to really make sure that it's the first 5 under 4.5 that I want to move on. But I do think it is. I do expect to move on the first 5 under 4.5. 88 Fahrenheit, 12 miles per hour out to left. It's humid. The ball's going to be flying. But these teams are not hitting. So, I don't know if I have to pull the trigger on that spot. I'm going to put a lean there and look at it a little further because I have enough action. I don't need to worry. And then finally, I double dipped on the Dodgers, first 5 in full game. There you go. That is MLB. We move right to NBA. And yesterday's game, we wrote like a script. It was a nice breakdown. Let's see if we can do this 2 in a row. East Finals Game 2, Atlanta leading the series 1-0. Hawks are 41-31, 16-20 on the road. Thank you, Puzzler, my man. Milwaukee Bucks 46-26, 26-10 at home. We're at Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we'll go into pace in a second. We'll go over what happened in Game 1. Let's start with the market and see where it is. We're going to move over to NBA, and let's go. Here we go. We have Milwaukee opening up at 7.5 and now at 8. And I think Milwaukee is going to have a much better game than they had in Game 1. But still, I do not want to bet them at -8. I think this is going to be a tight series. We have seen Atlanta get blown out in a couple games. It doesn't seem to faze them, and they're already up 1-0. Then we get to the total. Total opens up at 226. It's now at 225. I found this interesting. I legitimately think that the only way that this goes under, no, I shouldn't say that, the highest probability of this going to the under is if the Milwaukee Bucks cover that spread. If the Milwaukee Bucks put a beatdown on the Hawks, and you have to think that's a beatdown if you're covering a -8. Puzzler says still like the first quarter under in Milwaukee. See, I think that is possible if the Hawks don't come out firing, but I think the Bucks do come out firing. So let's talk about it a little more. So Trae Young coming off the 48-point performance, the 2 points off the franchise record for a playoff game. Dominique in 1986, last one to hit 50 for the Hawks. He scored at least 30 in 6 road playoff games so far in the playoffs. John Collins goes for 23 and 15. Capella 12 and 19. But Bogdanovic limited with a knee injury, and it's a problem. He went 4 points, 1 of 6 from the floor. Giannis Antetokounmpo 34, 12 and 9. Holiday goes for 33 and 10. They go 20 of 50 combined, but the rest of the Bucks were just 19 of 52. So whose name were we not hearing? It was Chris Middleton, who was bad. He went 6 for 23 and 0 for 9 from 3. The Bucks were just 8 of 36 from 3. So if you Ergo Kostic going right back to the well with Capella, for points, rebounds, and assists. John Garcia says, there's a zigzag theory also working game 4. Johnny K says, feel like the Hawks, the Publics will be all over them. That was the early situation. Let's see what's happened now. 12,000 tickets in now, 11,953. And on the spread, we have 75% of the tickets on the Hawks and 57% of the cash. And on the total, we have 49% of the tickets on the under and 72% of the cash on the under. So that makes me think that that the Sharps believe it's a Buck smackdown spot. And if that's the case, then the Atlanta Hawks aren't going to get to their team total. So let's just take a couple looks at some of the possibilities for me. First off, the first possibility that I would be looking at is the Bucks first quarter. But it's at 3.5, and my ROI for anything over 2.5 as a favorite first quarter is bad, so immediately off. But you could tell the market is expecting the Bucks to be all over them in the first quarter. The total for the first quarter is 57. So let's go to the Hawks team total in the first quarter. Here we go. Team total is at 30.5. So they could easily cover that first quarter with a 29-24 first quarter. So I don't find that very appealing. Let's go to the half, and we're going to talk about we'll talk about the pace here in a second. The Bucks at 59.5 at -120 for a team total. 59.5. Preston in the house. Great to see you. Preston says if the Bucks continue to go under screens against Trae Young, they'll get diced up. Have to be a better game plan this time around. Puzzler says last 4 first quarter team totals in Milwaukee, 41, 49, 45, and 43. Wow. Very interesting. Glenn L.A. Man says my bankroll is so huge after hitting last night's NHL OT and exact score. I love it, Glenn. I love it, buddy. Says, I'll try Atlanta Hawks money line at plus 293. Interesting. Johnny K says, can see the Bucks cover. Glenn L.A. Man has the Hawks 6-2 on the road in the playoffs. Danny A. tempted at the Trae Young over 3.5 threes. Okay, so Robert Allen says Trae Young literally did the shuffle before draining a 3 on them. He literally has the Bucks mojo in his pocket. Kevin Riley has the Bucks first quarter and the Bucks first half yesterday. If he does, I imagine he got better than 3.5. It seems like an inflated line. Seems like some sharp actions being on there. Let's go to pace. So this pace is being run at 102 possessions a game. That's fast. And that makes me think that there's going to be offense. But if there's a thought that the Bucks are going to beat up on the Hawks, which doesn't interest me that much, and Dennis Garcia says Atlanta wins the series, it certainly looks like that at this point. The Hawks' pace during the season was 98.68 possessions a game. Now they're paying at 102. You have to think that Middleton bounces back. The problem is here that I'm faced with is that it's hard. Maybe the spot is to take the Hawks team total under for the first quarter of the first half. Maybe that's the spot. If I think the Bucks are going to come out fast and play strong defensively, and that Trae Young will have difficulty recreating what he did in that last game, which is a very easy thing to say, then that first quarter under 26.5 for the Hawks, or the first half under 54.5. So you take Bogdanovich, his ability to spread the court and to hit from the perimeter with the knee injury out, then the Hawks should have difficulty scoring. And at some point, the Bucks should be strong. Now, it's going to be the Bucks shooting that gets them out of this. Preston says Bucks need to control the paint, can't give up all those offensive boards that did them in. Danny A says all stats to the side, Hawks have a fire under their ass you just can't teach. Bucks weren't even supposed to get past the nets. That's injuries beat them up. And Mike M, Beaver ball play today, Vegas -6 for Mike M. Dennis Garcia says Atlanta plus the points and Trae Young under the points. And here we go from Gas Station Sushi. Belmont race 4, the 9 vodka lemonade is a best bet look for gas. Okay, here we go. I copied and pasted that. So, with all that being said, let's just take a quick look at the player points here, player props, excuse me. We have Bogdanovich at 10.5 with the knee injury. And it's juiced to the over. Huh. Trey Young is at 30.5. Remember, he started the playoffs at 25.5, and it's gone all the way to 30.5. When you go to threes for Trey, we have 2.5. Over 2.5 is at minus 200. Jesus. And they're not moving it up because they're scared of it, obviously. And then you have it's a pick 'em at 30.5. Wow. Wild. Absolutely wild. Okay. Trinity says, let's get to this very important Game 7. So I'm going to decide exactly how to do it, but I think the Hawks team total under 54.5 first half is going to be my plan. Uncle Oliver saying Trey Young not hitting 30 tonight. And Glenn Knight Matt says the Atlanta Hawks team reminds me of the Montreal Canadiens. Odd makers aren't adjusting. I think that's well put, Glenn. Okay, so at least Hawks first half team total under 54.5 for me. At a minimum. Okay. And if I had a free play, I'd still go back to the Hawks plus the points. But I'm not going to. I think my best bet here is the Hawks first half team total under 54.5. All righty, let's move on to NHL right now. Game 7, Stanley Cup semifinals, New York Islanders at Tampa Bay Lightning. And on his 28th birthday, Mr. Gogster in the house, fresh out of Belleville. Crazy motherfucking name.
What's going on, guys? How are we doing today? Happy June 25th. We're halfway to Christmas, if you didn't know.
Happy birthday, my friend. Do you have anything exciting planned for the evening?
Yeah, actually, it's a Friday night, so I got to work from 5 to 8. Then after that, going over to a buddy's place and just going to crack some beers, watch this game 7. Can't wait, guys.
I love it. Well,
I brought a little friend, too, here, Jimmy.
Oh, it's a very mysterious beverage. Oh, my God. You just made my – okay, I look.
I have to have a sip here.
Okay, well, let me get mine. Just
take over. Take over. All right, guys. So here we are. We've got a little crack in here for the 28. Jim's going to go get his, but we got a beauty Game 7 here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. New York Islanders. Who would have thought? They remind you of the Montreal Canadiens, the way they play this hockey game, or this series, really just battling back. They're still getting those underdog lines, too. It's going to be a real beauty. Let's get the chat going on here. What's going on everything in the chat here? We still got 13 minutes. Don't worry. We'll get everything in here. Walt, Lados, Uncle Oliver, Guillermo. Shout out to Guillermo, Ulysses, Razor, Puzzler, everyone. Appreciate you guys here. We're just going to have a quick little shot before
it's a very mysterious beverage. It's a very mysterious beverage. Let me make a little toast to you, Mr. Gogster. Man, we are so fortunate to cap with you. Not only are you extremely skilled, but you make it so much fun. And when you combine those two, it's just we're all fortunate not only to cap with you, but to be friends with you. And I can't wait till our next trip, and I can't wait till we hang out again. Happy birthday, Mr. Gogster, 28 years old. We love you.
Wouldn't want to do it with a better group of guys right here. Everyone, cheers.
We love you, Mr. Gogster. Oh, Jesus.
Not as smooth as the James. Hiya! Let's go. Let's get a winner here, ladies.
All right, Gogster, Game 7 Stanley Cup semifinals, Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. The hockey gods have karate chopped Kucherov out of this Game 7. It looks like. Yeah. Was not nice in practice.
Nope.
It looks like he's not going to be around. Now, let's talk about – so that's the elephant in the room. No Kucherov. But the Lightning haven't lost consecutive postseason games in over 2 years. They also haven't faced a winner-take-all challenge since 2018. So they're 13-0 in games. 13-0 in games following a playoff loss.
That's wild.
And the last time they were in a winner-take-all situation, it was Barry Trotz.
And those Capitals.
And they got him right in the old brown eye.
And the old stinkhole.
Kucherov, 27 points in 17 games. At least 1 point hurt in the first shift. And in the 13 games the Lightning have won following a playoff loss since 2019,
shit's wild, man.
he has 26 points in those 13 games.
Exactly. How much of a factor is he? You know, like Kucherov he's the heart and soul. He's the he's the everything to this team. And Jim's right. You know, they're 2-2 and with Cooper in Game 7 since 2015. Elimination games too. First one since against Columbus since they've had an elimination game here where their season's been on the line. 2019, we all know how that went against Columbus. 4 games. See you never. They hit the roads. They hit the showers. Hit the golf courses early. So this game here, guys. Geez, that Kraken really kind of it takes
it's
you
a
for
mysterious beverage.
It is
15-cent move towards these New York Islanders. Well, I should say a 10-cent move towards the Islanders, but a 15-cent. It's gone from Lightning gone from minus 173 to minus 158. Islanders gone from plus 152 to plus 142. When we go to the total standpoint, you have the 5 on the board and a huge move to the under, Gogster. One of the biggest we've seen. So let me tell you this, Gogster. In our 3 years together, this is the lowest 5 or 4 years, I should say, 4 years cabinet that I've seen. A 5 over 5 at minus 114.
Wow. Yeah, only other thing I might think of is that Dallas series. I know they didn't score shit. Diddly all. Sorry, guys. Almost. Are we allowed to swear here, Jim?
Of course. It's Pop Sports Radio. Anything goes.
Diddly fuck. They weren't able to do diddly fuck last time, but Dallas. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think I'm unders. That's kind of where I'm looking here, guys. Right away, Varlamov. He's 12-2 on the road. That's the regular season. He's 3-3 in the playoffs. But what the New York Islanders did in those first 2 games, guys, take that 5th game. It's like a horse race, we used to say. Jim, it's the outlier. Take that 5th game and throw it in the trash. You can't really focus on that game. Games 1 and 2, they both had high expected goals, 2.7, 4.99. You look at what the Tampa Bay did. It was in 5-on-5, Jim, 1.89, 2.3. Their power play was humming with Kucherov. Obviously, him there is just huge, guys. And he had 3 assists in that Game 2 victory. They won 4-2. The first game when they lost 2-1, Jim, he was nowhere to be seen. He didn't do a whole lot. And his expected goals was like 0.08, really low. He didn't do a whole lot. And I think it's going to be very similar here. Without Kucherov, it's just who else is going to set up all these goals? He had 3 assists in Game 5, 3 assists in Game 2. They lost Game 1 when he didn't do anything, 2-1. And that's kind of where I see this game going, is like a 2-1. I'm jumping on what you did yesterday, Jim. No goal in the first 9 minutes, 30 seconds here. Minus 113. That's going to be a full unit. And I'm even double downing with the 0-0 end of the first period. No goal in the first period altogether, plus 300. I'm going to do a half unit on that. I just think with both these goalies, Vasilevsky, either you take out Vasilevsky or Kucherov, and they decided to do Kucherov. So that's because with both those guys on the ice, it was really tough for the Islanders to win, especially on the road. But now without Kucherov, guys, they got a real fighter's chance, and that line should not be plus whatever, minus 170 on Tampa Bay without their best player. That's wild. That's insane. Should probably be about minus 145, I would say, Jim. But I'm looking no goal early here, and I got 2 more plays I'll break down here as we go on.
Well, I look forward to hearing them. I think that all makes sense. I really love the no goal 9.5. Pinnacle, 10 minutes bet 365. I love the bet. I love the sweat, and then I love the celebration once you're at the 10 minutes. For me, because I've been on a big losing streak, and 200 a pop. I only did 100 on the no goals in the first period, but hitting that 10-minute mark was like a huge celebration.
me and my buddies were watching too, and they were saying, "Hey, Jimmy hit that no goal." I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right."
Pallet, Braden Point. Platt, I should say not Platt. Platt, Point. Platt. Is Stamkos going to move up on that first line, or do you think he stays with Cirelli and Killorn?
No, I think they'd have to move him up. They need to have that. They need someone to fill the shoes there. And I know from even their power play, they had Platt on that right side on the power play, and he is not a threat at all. They were letting him do whatever, and he couldn't shoot. He was missing the puck. He wasn't getting any shots off. What they're focusing on was Braden Point in the middle on the power play, even on that first line. And the Islanders know that. It's Stamkos and Point they got to focus on. I think they can start. They're going to be able to slow those 2 down. They did it last game. Those 2 periods in the Game 6, guys, Tampa Bay did diddly fuck. They did shit all. And the Islanders, for them to lose a 2-0 game in a game, if they win, they go to the Stanley Cup, and they're up 2-0, Jim, right? And they blew it 3-2. And even with Cooper, guys, I've seen this story with Cooper before. Ever since they won the Stanley Cup last year, these guys choked a hell of a lot. I mean, a hell of a lot. Jim, Tampa Bay, great regular season team. And once the playoffs come around, it's advantage Montreal and New York Islanders, these physical teams, especially when they're not calling penalties. They'd call these penalties, Jim. You know it. Regular season, there'd be so many more penalties called. But since it's the playoffs, this doesn't help Tampa Bay. And you saw what happened with Vegas. I think it's going to be similar here. Now you don't have your best player. I'm liking the New York Islanders to take this one, guys. I got them on the money line, plus 142. I'm taking the Islanders to take this one. And team total under Tampa Bay Lightning, 2.5, plus 132. I think without Kucherov, don't expect these guys to score 3 goals. And I like the total under 5. I didn't take the total under 5, but I definitely would be leaning that way as well, guys.
I don't know exactly.
I saw a little chagrin from you there, Jim.
No, nothing like that. I think that if I was coaching the Tampa Bay Lightning, I would have all of the artillery to give a pretty incredible pregame speech, because they're going to be playing without Coochie here in this spot. And these guys,
shout out to Preston.
These guys are more than capable of stepping up without Kucherov. And I would turn the tables here from being the favorite, and that's how I would break it down for the Lightning. I really think that the Lightning have an opportunity as players to do something extremely special in this Game 7 at home without their best player. And from a standpoint of getting your team ready to go, I think that the narrative has changed, and it could help the Lightning here in a take-all game, must-win game, because they didn't win their last one.
No.
Now they don't have their best player. I mean, you can change the narrative around from being this huge favorite into something else. And it has given me pause. It's given me pause. And I know that Trotzy is so good in situations like this. But I don't know at this point. I just think that this is a pretty special opportunity for the Lightning without Kucherov. Now, if Kucherov had been there all season long, I would like it that much more. And the fact that I think it's completely unfair that they circumvented the salary cap is a different thing. So I'm going to need more time on this spot. What do you think of the patented Babano over 1.5 in the third period?
Yeah, I was thinking if this is a tied game like that Montreal game, then no. But if a team's down 2-1, 3-1, that's a tough one. How I see this game going is 0-0 after the first period, guys. I almost was going to take the Islanders to score first, but I'm not. I see this finishing even overtime 2-1 or a 3-1 Islanders win here, or even a 3-2 overtime. I can't see it going over 5. Third period, just looking for my third period numbers here. Tampa Bay have scored a 9 in the third period, allowed 4. New York Islanders have scored 6, allowed 13. So that's a bit of an issue there. But without Kucherov, it's a real – at first, Jim, I was looking – I wanted to take Tampa Bay. That was my look, was Tampa Bay in this game. Something was telling me Tampa Bay. More I looked into this game, guys, the research before the show changed my opinion and made me think, you know what, this is Islanders. Kind of like Montreal. I was going to take Vegas, but I thought, you know what, they're going to finish them right here. I don't think they want to go back. And I think the way the playoffs have been leaning, guys, it doesn't help teams like Tampa Bay and Vegas. As good as they are, if you start slowing them down, chopping at them, they really went after Stamkos too in the last game. It's going to help these teams. Only issue for me is how good Islanders are at home, and just prove it again here on the road. They've scored 2 goals in game 1 and game 2. They scored 2 goals, so they proved they could get the puck past Vasilevsky. If that guy doesn't play stellar too, Islanders can win this game. It's a tough call, guys, but give me Islanders, give me Tampa Bay Lightning. Team total under 2.5. Let's cash.
I need a little bit more time here, but I do think for everybody listening that and watching, you can get a really nice first period under one line. That's plus money. That it gives you the opportunity to push if a goal scored and get a big score if no goal scored. So that is right there. So the alternative, so you get plus 320 for no goal, and then you get the first period at minus 145. So just very, very. I know we got to go. We got to make moves here, but minus 145 and 320 in the -1 calculator gives you you could take the first period under one at plus 171.
Yeah. Because I only did a half unit on the no goal in the first period. I think that's a safer play doing the first, because I do a full unit on that at under one, guys. So yeah, I would definitely lean towards that along with no goal if you can get that at your book.
And then again, you can do sort of the same thing with your full game total, Mr. Gogster, and then we're going to close up shop here. But you can take, if you're that confident in the under 5, the under 4.5 is sitting there at plus 155.
And I was thinking that too, Jim. I was thinking that too, and I wouldn't shy away from that one either, guys.
Now I've got more time to figure this stuff out. So very quickly, we got to go. We got Babano. We got Babano's show with.
Sorry, we're a little late, guys.
Very quickly, we had a question about the next round. If the Islanders play the Habs, are the Turnsey says minus 120 for the Islanders, and if it's the Lightning, minus 250 for the Lightning. Do you have any?
I'll say if it's the Islanders, it'd be about minus 130. If it's Tampa Bay, Montreal, I'd say minus 210. 210.
Interesting.
210. Yeah. What do you say?
I think that the 250 is. I would go higher than your 210 because the market just doesn't correct themselves that fast. That's something that Loshek's always kind of taught us.
That's true.
But I think your minus 130 on the Islanders is closer than the minus 120. Mr. Gogster, happy birthday! This is such a team thing that we're doing here. We're just trying to work together to defeat the books. And Gogster, you're such a big part of everything that we want to do here, and we want to wish you a huge happy birthday. And I want to have another shot of Kraken.
All right, one more shot. It's gonna be
so quickly, we have Babano and CMAC. Go over there right now and run with Babano and CMAC MLB show. Also, we have the Pub Hub NBA show at 4 p.m. Eastern. And other than that, Low Shack in the bag on Tuesday. We have no show without you guys in the chat. Thank you for all your insights, all your humor, and everything you do. But most importantly, happy birthday, Mr. Gogster. I love you, Holmes.
This is our leche. Happy Burroughs has had birthday.
And Jose can cheers to Asian baseball players and everywhere.
Whatever it is you want to cheers to you, Jose, as well. Jamie, love you, buddy. Everyone in the chat, take care.
Where's the bang bang, Preston? Come on.
I can't breathe.
Pub Sports Radio. Come find us in Southtown 101. Subscribe on YouTube and all platforms where podcasts are found.